Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Takes from the Lakes podcast. I am James, and I'm joined by Nash. We are in the midst of maybe the best March Madness of all time. We were just talking about this before I pressed record, and there's some games going on right now. But we took some time out of the day. Nash we gotta do this quick before Nash has to do some chem homework. And we haven't done one in 2 weeks. We couldn't do last week because of various reasons. So but how you doing, Nash?
I'm doing all right. Kansas, I actually took it pretty well this year.
Good for you, man.
You can't win 2 in a row unless you're Billy Donovan, Florida. And Arkansas is a good team. This is also the craziest March Madness of all time. A 1 seed was never gonna win it. But yeah, some of the craziest upsets.
You guys weren't beating UConn anyways.
Yeah, probably not.
Who knows though? But yeah, go on.
UConn was ranked number 1 there for a hot minute, and they lost 6 in a row or something.
Yeah, something stupid.
But yeah, 15 seed making it to 3-16. Fairleigh Dickinson takes down Purdue. No 1 seeds in the Elite Eight. Kansas State, little baby. All of the crazy stat lines. Marquise Noel, 19
Marquise
assists.
Noel's a dog.
He's a dog. MSG, his first game in MSG,
Mr. New York.
New York native.
Mr. New York City.
He's his mixtape was one of the first that Overtime ever did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then on the other side, Sonogo and Hawkins and Drew Timme. Julian Strother from the logo.
Absurd.
It's had everything. But we can just, how do we want to structure this? Just go down the list.
We can just we'll just go round by round, but we'll go the individual storylines. I want to start with, this was the second game, I think, of that Thursday. It was the second game of the whole tournament. It was UVA Furman. I picked UVA. I picked Furman.
Yeah.
I thought that was the easiest upset pick ever.
Yeah,
I thought it was so obvious UVA was going to lose.
If you peep the Takes from the Lakes Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow at Takes from the Lakes pod, I think it is. Furman was the first upset one of the second or third that we had as potential Cinderella candidates. Now, they did not get past San Diego State.
Not quite a Cinderella, but they were an upset,
They were an upset. And that, how do you feel about Kihei Clark with that game?
Man, I knew UVA they weren't good this year. They just didn't have the consistency to win a tournament game. We were there. We saw it in person. They can't score the ball. And sometimes their defense isn't even the greatest, and that kind of showed with Furman. But Kihei, what is he? He's a 5th-year player, right? One of the greatest, gonna be one of the most memorable UVA players in recent memory. For sure. But, it's kind of a tough play. They had a timeout. Could have just passed it to literally anybody. He had, I think it was McNeely open on the other side of the court. Wide open.
It wasn't I also don't think it was as bad of a play as people were making it out to be. It was bad.
Play.
It was pretty bad. But on the one hand, you can't judge his legacy off of that.
Oh, yeah, no. He had the maybe the greatest pass to Diakite in the Elite.
Yeah.
Or was it Final Four? I
think it was the Elite Eight. No, I think it was the Elite Eight because
they played Purdue.
It was against Purdue, yeah. Carson Edwards.
Purdue, and they played Auburn in the Final Four, and that's
shout out Mamadi Diakite.
Yeah.
And his crazy hair.
Yeah. I did not know he's in the NBA. He's playing for the Cavs. I didn't know that.
He was with the Clippers for a little while, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Mamadi Diakite.
Yeah, he was great. He was great for their championship run. He's been a great player all 5 years.
And on top of that, even if you do that, Furman still has to make a shot.
They still hit it. Clutch
he
3.
Buried a deep 3.
Yeah.
And that shot's going up, you just knew it was going.
Yeah, you could tell. You're oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's bottoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But
kind of moving on down the list, I guess the next notable game was Arizona Princeton.
yeah,
Safe to say. I mean, you got Missouri, you got Maryland taking it down. But yeah, after that, this was the biggest shocker to me. I think
more
Purdue
than.
seemed very weak in my opinion. Like
Hey, I said Arizona was a fraud candidate, so
I
just
I
saying,
know
and you
I know you
denied
did,
it too.
and I yeah no, and I didn't, and I guess maybe I should learn my lesson with Kentucky last year. But like you're looking at the best rebounding teams in the country, and I know like Purdue had Zach Edey, so like obviously a good rebounding team, but they had like these glaring weaknesses that were like kind of too great to ignore. Like Fairleigh Dickinson had hardly run a press all year, and they pressed Purdue because they knew they couldn't beat it.
Fairleigh Dickinson was like the worst team going into the tournament, though. I
Well,
mean,
there was one team that made the tournament. I saw this that like
Texas Southern
based
was
off of
14,
Ken Palm,
14 and 20.
based off of Ken Palm,
What
like
team?
some team that like didn't even win their conference tournament,
That was them.
but that was Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I knew that, and then I just
Yeah.
like couldn't
Well,
remember if it was Corpus Christi or
they
them.
yeah,
No, it was Corpus
they
Christi beat Hansel Emmanuel in their conference
oh,
tournament final.
oh yeah.
Do
But
you
they
know Hansel Emmanuel?
yeah,
Just
the one
on a little
armed guy.
tangent. Yeah,
Yeah. But they were they didn't even win their conference tournament because what was it?
their
The team
new
that won.
conference. Well, no, so the conference was giving the bid to whichever team had the best like Ken Palm rating or something
No,
wild like that.
I don't. I thought it was the team that won wasn't eligible because they were like new to D1 or something like that.
That sounds right.
It wasn't
Um,
the Ken. It wasn't the
but
Ken Palm. It was the team that
Well,
won
no,
wasn't
but they
eligible
gave it,
because
but Farley Dickinson was not second. They gave it to Farley Dickinson because they were highest in Ken Palm.
I don't think
I
that's
think.
true. I don't think it is.
Let's look it up. Look it up.
Okay, I will.
I'll yeah. So I'll talk about Arizona and Princeton while you find that. So basically, I think Arizona Princeton was maybe behind Alabama and Kansas losing was probably the most unlikely upset I could have seen, just because you're looking at the best rebounding team in the country,
Okay.
some of the best big men, great coaching. Um, you know, they have a pedigree. They haven't been great in the tournament recently, but they have a pedigree for at least being consistent. And so,
Wait, are you talking
going
about
against a
Arizona?
team, talking about Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a Princeton team that, obviously disciplined, like Princeton offense, like a team like that is going to come in and be consistent. But, you just look at it where like there's no way a team like Princeton, A, has the firepower to beat Arizona, or that they can physically match up with them, like even in the slightest, or that they can do anything to really offset that Arizona, you know, athleticism advantage.
Yeah.
Um,
Arizona, they're
but
not. You said they've been consistent. Have they been consistent in the tourney though? Have they made? When was the last time they've made it? I mean, haven't made an elite or a Final
when was the
Four.
last time they got upset though in the first round?
I mean, first round upset is different because not really any teams get upset in the first round on many occasions,
I
unless
mean,
you're
Purdue and Virginia.
Purdue and Virginia. But I mean, they've been last year. They were what, second round exits? Right,
Yeah.
second or third. But I
No.
can't remember the
Yeah.
last time they made an Elite Eight. Can you?
No. No. I mean, I remember they lost to Kansas in a big game before I was really like watching basketball
Hmm.
like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're right in that it just like generally as a program, there's not a whole lot of years where like Arizona isn't a solid team coming in, where they're
Yeah.
not like they're never the disappointments of the tournament.
Yeah.
Like even when they lose sort of early, it's never like, oh wow, that was the team everybody had winning and they
Yeah.
lost. Like,
Hmm.
they're not
Fair.
huge underperformers. And I think this year, to me, seemed like for the first time in a long time, one team that was like upset, you know, impossible, could not happen. Them and Alabama, where it's like that team physically, a mid-major team cannot stack up against them.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow Princeton did it.
Yeah.
Arizona could not make a shot. Princeton was timely. They were effective down the stretch. And I mean, they just pulled it off. And then they went on and beat Missouri. But did you find the Fairleigh Dickinson?
Yes, I did. So Fairleigh Dickinson came in. They did not win their conference championship game. They played Merrimack. They lost to the NEC tournament, whatever NEC stands for. They lost to Merrimack by 1 point, but Merrimack wasn't eligible for the tournament because of an NCAA rule that bans the program while it completes its 4-year transition from D2. So they weren't eligible because they just came from D2, and then I guess they needed to wait 4 years to make the tournament. And so that allowed FDU to make the tournament with a 20-15 record. They were the shortest team in D1. Tobin Anderson last year was coaching D2. He brought a bunch of his players.
Aquinas.
Yeah, something like that. Brought a bunch of his players who were impact players against Purdue and against well, I guess only one against Purdue, but against Purdue. And yeah, so that is in itself, like, I think it's the greatest upset ever. I mean, obviously UMBC, whatever, Virginia, but FDU was like the worst team.
I mean, to be fair,
be in the
UMBC
tournament.
did win that game.
By 20.
By like 20.
Yeah, which is absurd.
And
It's
also,
just absolutely absurd.
I just really don't think like Purdue is that good.
I mean, fair.
I think everybody knew Purdue were frauds.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like,
it's fair.
Nothing to me suggests that like Purdue was going to do anything. They could not beat a full court press. It's like Ocean Lakes basketball out there. I'm like praying that nobody is like that. Mullen is not listening to this.
You better hope, bud. But yeah,
but we could
FDU's
not beat a press,
no.
and Purdue could not beat a press to save their life, and FDU pressed them. Tobin Anderson was not afraid to take any sort of risks. He knew that they were probably the worst team in the tournament.
Yeah.
He knew they had really no business being there.
They played a group of 4 games too, right? Or the group they played the early games.
The first 4.
Four games,
I mean, yeah. Texas Southern was probably worse than them because they like had a losing record.
14-20. Yeah.
They were bad. Like they were not good at basketball. But yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson, not a very good team. Average height of 6'1". I mean, against Zach Edey. They had that where was that guy from?
As good as they
possibly
could.
The guy with the Band-Aid. What was that guy's name? On Purdue? Fairleigh Dickinson.
Guy with the Band-Aid.
Guy with the Band-Aid over his eye.
Oh, I forgot all their names, dude.
Oh,
like I could tell you the names from St. Peter's, but I didn't really remember any of the guys from FDU. I just remember Tobin Anderson. I can remember their faces, but
we'll all remember them again once those guys transfer. And that's the sad thing about the modern like NCAA, I mean, Tobin Anderson's those guys will transfer. They will not be back.
Yeah, I mean Tobin Anderson immediately.
Some of them will go to Iona. I think the best player, the small big man, will likely end up at Iona. If I had to guess.
The point guard, who was pretty. I thought he was really solid. He was really shifty.
Yeah,
he was a dog. But they just hit their shots against Purdue too. Like they were getting open middies, they were creating space, and they were just hitting the shots. And Purdue didn't like. They were kind of like the one dude on Purdue just did not want to shoot the ball. They were just kind of playing scared out there.
Yeah,
Edey did as best as he could. Yeah,
young guards are not. I mean, they're not ideal.
Edey did as best as he could, but they'd have 1-on-1, and then they'd have a guy come sneak around, and then they double him and punch it out. That's what they did the last 5 minutes of game over and over. And that was really all it took. It was one of the most exciting games I've ever watched, and one of the better defensive games I've ever watched by a team. Did I tell you really the story
about what happened?
With what?
With that game? With me watching that game?
No, I don't think so.
So something in the morning. I had to get up really early for.
Oh,
And
right, you
well, and
slept
I
through
was
it.
trying. Yeah, I accidentally slept through it, and I woke
That's
up at like in the middle of the night, like so angry.
I would have I would have been really mad if I were you.
Yeah,
Because I the previous night, Thursday night, I stayed up watching the Houston game because I thought they might have lost. But what were they playing? It was was it Western Kentucky or North? It was
Northern
Northern
Kentucky, the
Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky
That team
North.
sucked. Northern Kentucky was so bad, and I couldn't believe Houston was like in a game with them because that was
That's
the
the thing too. Like, it's easy for us to watch those games and be like, "Oh, that team sucked,"
no. I'm
but
telling
like,
you though, like you
it's just
watch.
well, no, it's just the difference between watching mid-major versus high major and then like NBA basketball. It's like if you look or like and it like if you watch Northern Kentucky compared to like a D3 school, it's all like the difference in shot creating, right? Like you watch
Yeah, I
Northern
mean
Kentucky play and it's like, how are these guys scoring? And because like it's like, oh, they suck. But it's just like they don't size up. If you watch them play against like a team of their caliber, like watch the first 4 games, like Fairleigh Dickinson and
I
whatever.
kind of disagree with you on that because I watched Northern Kentucky and then I watched FDU and just the overall way that they play, like Northern Kentucky, they easily could have won that game if they had better shot selection. Like they would literally come down. They had one dude who was like 2 for 17, 1 for 15 from three or something. Like they would literally come down and like just chuck up threes. While FDU on the other hand would run an actual good offense. And I mean Northern Kentucky played decent
Okay,
enough
so like they
defense,
played a better game, right? But like
but their
it's still
overall
you
team
watch Northern you
they
yeah,
weren't good as compared to like FDU was like they played a really good game and they looked like a really
they
good
played
team.
okay. Well,
But
but you watch FDU and there's still like, you can say that in hindsight, like because they won and they played amazing defense. Um, but like you're not, especially on the offensive end, like yeah, they're running a good offense. Yeah, they're getting some easy buckets. But like watch them like towards the end of the shot clock, and it's the same thing you're seeing with them. It's not like
I mean
those are just they're not like pro level guys. Whereas
I
like
kind of
everybody on those top seeded teams is a pro level guy. So I mean I
I
think
guess, but I watched I'm gonna say this right now. You didn't watch the FDU game. And you didn't
that's
watch the
fair.
Houston
Oh, okay,
game.
I actually like watched the full game highlights. Like there were like the 50-minute long version.
Did you watch the Houston game? First round.
Yeah, no, I did watch the Houston
Okay.
game.
Northern Kentucky, the different like Northern
No, I mean
Kentucky
I agree they looked horrible.
and just because of the shots they put up and the way that they
Yeah,
played the game, like FU played the game, like
better.
there was no reason Houston should have been in a 5 point game with Northern Kentucky the whole game,
Yeah.
but there absolutely was a reason that FDU won.
It's because
And
Houston's not that good.
yeah, Houston, I was surprised Houston beat who they beat second round. Oh, Auburn. I thought Auburn was
Dude,
gonna destroy them.
that game we went to turned out to be like two of the bummiest
I
teams.
know, two of the most fraudulent teams in the country.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean those teams in Purdue. Plus, like, I still like struggle to call Arizona frauds.
they're frauds, dude. If you look,
They're no,
I
they
can't
are fraud.
believe.
No, you're right. You're right, and I can't believe that I told you not like we're
Yeah,
not gonna put them as
that was a bit of
frauds.
an impulse
But
reaction.
like,
Yeah,
I just like thought they were so good. I just like you
they're
watch them
just
play.
frauds. It's in their
And
blood.
what I mean, some teams like just don't show up in March.
Yeah,
Well, and then some teams, there were some upsets that like everybody had and everybody liked, that didn't materialize, right? Like
I
Duke
feel
Oral
like
Roberts.
the most
Um,
popular upset pick kind of never happens. Last year it was North Dakota State Providence. That didn't happen. This year was Oral Roberts Duke.
well,
That
no, this year it
this year's
was
Oral Roberts.
Drake Miami or like Kent State Indiana.
I think it was definitely Oral Roberts Duke just with
Or
Ace Smith and
no, I've got it. VCU over St. Mary's was the most
no, I was Oral Roberts.
for
The
people who
hype that
know
Oral
ball.
Roberts had for a
Pardon
12
the voice.
seed.
Okay, but that's only people who like actually like really know ball.
For the Oral Roberts.
Yes,
It was pretty around.
or people who are picking them because of the funny name.
No, they would have picked him because they made the Sweet 16 a couple years ago, and they have a 7-3
people don't
dude.
like. I don't feel like people really
All right. Well,
And
either way, you
also the
said
7-3 dude is not good. It's Max Asmus. That was like the
I
only
know,
reason that team was good.
but
But I don't know.
even all the
I don't.
upset
I
picks
think
you
if
said
we
didn't
look,
happen.
I think if we looked, I think VCU. Well, that's what I mean. That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
the most
We
popular
we could
upset
make
pick
like
does
a
not
top
happen.
four. It doesn't matter like the most popular. Miami, Drake over Miami,
I wish that Drake won that game.
VCU over St. Mary's, all of the
Miami's not
12s
good.
over 5s. This year, a, a 12 did not beat a 5.
Yes,
One
I
of the
believe.
first, it was like the second year ever that that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the 5s this year were just really solid. Like Charleston over STU was a popular one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oral
SDSU, yeah.
Roberts over Duke because of just like how good Oral Roberts was, popular one. And Duke smoked them. Duke
Destroyed him.
smoked them. VCU over St. Mary's, popular,
I had VCU to
not even really
Sweet 16.
close. Drake, you did not.
Drake's, yeah, I did. You gotta have
Drake
some. You gotta have
sucks.
Drake, dude.
Drake
Drake
actually
sold that
sucks.
game. You watched that game, right?
Yeah, of
They
course.
sold. They had that game in the bag and they sold it. Oh my
Dude,
god.
and the crazy thing is like Miami, it just feels like they can turn it on whenever they want.
Yeah.
They can just like decide to start playing amazing
Drake just
basketball.
decided they weren't gonna make a shot in the past 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the game, and
Yeah.
that was really
Dude, there's
hard to
like
watch.
that was like a catastrophic
Oh my
loss
god,
right
that was
there.
horrible. But
Yeah, and then like Kent State over Indiana was a popular one because
I was
everybody
pretty
loves to hate
confident
on
Kent
Indiana.
Indiana was gonna win that.
Yeah, I mean, again, like TJD is like one of the best players in the country.
Yeah,
When you
he's
have,
awesome.
again, I think Zach Edey, like along with Purdue, was like heavily overrated the whole year.
Yeah,
And so like I think when you have a top guy, again, like, and again, this was proven wrong by Oscar Shibwe, Kentucky
Mhm.
last year. But I think like the top guy, having a guy who can really like get you a bucket in the
Goes a
clutch,
long way.
like can go a long way to stop
I
the
mean,
upset.
yeah, exactly, and that's what
Like if Virginia had
I was
somebody
about. I
who
was
could
literally about
like
to say that they don't have that guy, and they haven't had
yeah.
him the past couple
They
years.
have never had that guy unless you're like looking back at like Kyle
Kyle
Guy
Guy
or
or
something.
Ty Jerome. Yeah,
Um but yeah, so um I do feel like the most popular upset picks don't happen, except Furman over Virginia was kind
that
of
was a
popular this
decently
year.
popular one. Yeah.
Especially like living in Virginia, not a whole lot of people are picking that.
Hmm.
There's the East Coast bias,
Yeah, I
that
love
does
when people
exist.
told me they had UVA winning. I'm like, yeah, they're losing
Dude,
first round.
I love when people tell me that like the ACC is so loaded.
It
Like,
sucks.
oh, dude, look at Duke and UNC, these great like
I still don't think Miami's
actually like
really that good.
venture to the mid. Okay, hold your horses.
I don't think the way
Miami is literally like the same as UConn.
no, not even close. They beat Drake
It's
because Drake
literally like
decided
the
they
same team, dude.
okay. Drake decided they just weren't gonna win for whatever reason. They beat Indiana by okay. I'll give them the Indiana win. They beat a fraudulent Houston and they're getting beat up. Down
Whoa,
by
whoa, whoa,
10
whoa,
to
whoa.
hit Texas
Don't
right now.
discredit the Houston win, dude.
Oh my
They
god.
crushed them. They destroy. I mean, I know Houston, like, we call them frauds. That's still a good team. They still got a 1 seed. Like, and they got smoked. Like, the
They play in
scoreboard
the
might not
AAC.
suggest it.
Who cares?
I mean, we'll see when they move to the Big 12. That'll actually be
Yeah,
interesting.
it will be.
But yeah, I think Miami is like the only decent team out of the ACC.
Yeah, I fell for
And
Duke.
Pitt,
I fell
and
for
Pitt,
Duke.
and Pitt.
Pitt, yeah.
Another upset that like I feel like good like people who know basketball had was Louisiana over Tennessee. And Tennessee actually surprised. Well, obviously,
They
like
snuck by.
Louisiana was not. Louisiana sucks.
I didn't get to watch
Louisiana
that game.
sucks. But like they're not good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you look at a team like Tennessee who just lost like maybe their best player, like the heart and soul of that team. And teams like that don't usually fare well, right? Like unless it's like a case of like, oh, rally around your fallen like player. Those kinds of teams falter when you don't have like that guy who you've been leaning on the whole season in like big moments. And yet they like pulled through pretty well with that game and then beat Duke easily.
Yeah. I thought that Michigan State over Marquette was a relatively easy pick as well.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was that was an easy
and I
pick.
thought that like it just kind of depended on the way the tournament was going, where like Marquette could have actually like really made some noise, and like I could have seen Marquette winning it all
Yeah.
because like they won a really good Big East.
Yeah.
But then, especially, after the first few minutes of that game, it just became very apparent that Marquette was not playing
And
up to
Michigan
standard,
State they
and
were
Michigan
balling.
State was. I mean, it's Tom Izzo's month for a reason.
Yeah.
I hate that. I really don't like Tom Izzo. Like, I don't like any of the blue blood coaches. I respect Coach K, but like in general, I don't like blue blood coaches. But it is Tom Izzo's month.
Yeah.
And I think that really does play a factor. Like, coaching is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Coaching is very important. I thought that, I mean, obviously, Kansas State was so fun to watch. Jerome Tang was awesome.
Yeah. If he
Obviously,
doesn't win Coach of the Year, like,
yeah, they were
something's
projected to win last in the Big 12, right? Or
Get last.
to place last, not win last.
Okay, so
That's
the
right.
people who vote on those things are like complete and totally like.
Okay, well, they were projected to be bad. They were not
but they
expected to
weren't
make the
supposed to
Elite
be
Eight.
good. Like,
Yeah.
if you couldn't see that Texas Tech was going to be bad from a mile away, like, you didn't know what was going on. Same thing with like, West Virginia. Like, obviously, like, I don't see how you could like look at that Kansas State team and not say like, okay, they've got some dogs.
They got some dogs, yeah. Noel, Keontae Johnson.
I can't stand Keontae Johnson.
Really? Why not?
So he's just like,
all he's been through.
Dude, I actually like don't care.
Jesus. All right. Wow.
Okay. Well, okay, he's fine now. Like, he's doing good now. Like,
why do you not like him?
I felt sorry for him. First, let me like justify my claim that like I don't like. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, we get it. Why don't you like him?
There was like some drama. I don't like him. So when they beat Kansas, which like I'm not saying that. Okay. I just
you're just salty.
If your team is a trash program, you have a bad basketball program when you storm the court after a win, and both teams are ranked.
So
if both teams are ranked,
okay.
And he was like he threw like he basically had a party for himself.
Okay, let me get some talking.
And he was like dunking and okay. I don't want. Okay, you know what? Go.
You hate Keontae Johnson because he celebrated a win after beating the reigning champions and one of the best basketball teams in the country. That's what I'm hearing, and that's all right. You know, you're a Kansas fan. You're biased. It's all good.
Dude,
I understand.
Kansas, you'll never.
I would be mad too.
You'll never see Kansas rush.
Okay, they're a blue blood. Kansas State is not known for being.
They were both
historically good. Who cares? They beat Kansas, the reigning champions, and it was ranked top 5 at the time.
Clowns, bro.
All right. Anyways, Kansas State. They played.
I don't like.
I
love Marquise Noel. Just like to preface that, there are a lot of guys on that team. I really like Tomlin. I really like Ish Massoud.
Yeah.
I just don't like Keontae Johnson.
Okay.
Something about him just annoys me.
All right.
Anyway.
Cool. Anyways, they played that Kansas State team played FAU in the Elite Eight. FAU won by 3. That was a crazy game overall. FAU, Dusty May, great coach. They have some dogs in that team. FAU does.
John L.
Davis. Yes. Yeah. And number 15.
Did you see the quote he gave after one of the wins? I think it was against Tennessee.
What did he say?
Or maybe it was against FAU. He said something about like
he dropped like 30 against.
Dude, I actually can't stand FAU though because that win that whoever tried to do the 360 at the end
that was really against FDU. That was bad. That was number 15.
Like,
number 15.
He said something like John L. Davis said something like about like feeding his family after one of the games was just like so cold.
Oh, that was yeah. I think that was. I want to say that was after
you're
the
just
game.
A dog.
Yeah.
Like you're just a dog.
He is a dog, but there will be a 9 seed in the Final Four.
Playing the little baby after the win is like ultimate villain. Like, don't try to 360 dunk on the 16 seed. Like, that's whack.
That's horrible.
But playing the other team's song that's like been going viral after beating like the fan favorite team is like ultimate villain. Like, that's so respectable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not respectable, but it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's a March Madness moment. But yeah, FAU wins the East region. They're going to the Final Four. In the South region, San Diego State, that game ended 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. San Diego State beat Creighton in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, the
crazy end
brother
of the game.
rematch.
Yep, brother
Brother and
rematch.
the foul, controversial foul. It was a foul.
It was a
I mean,
foul. I respect the
it
call.
wasn't a hard foul, but it
I
was a
think
foul.
it should have been called. It was a good call. Um, but that's yeah. Once he missed the first free throw, I was like, this could get interesting. But yeah. No, the inbound play though. Oh my God,
Yeah,
that
no
was
kidding,
rough.
bro. That
But
was wild.
that was a good game. SDSU is going to the final
SDSU
four.
is like so solid
Yeah.
every year. Like,
Also, I have a stat for you.
give me a
This is
stat.
we're not gonna
Hit
do
me.
obscure stat today,
We're
but
not.
this
I
is
don't have one, but hit me.
but I do, and I forgot I just saw this today. But guess, I mean, there's really no point to guessing, but just guess who the assist leader for San Diego State basketball is all time. Who's the assist leader in basketball?
Okay. Is it an NBA guy?
No.
Is it a current guy?
There's no you're not gonna I don't even know why I'm telling you to guess. Let me just tell you.
Is this like whack?
It's dude, it's crazy.
Is
All
this
right.
somebody I should know?
You
But is it
no,
somebody I
you
would
won't
know?
be like, oh my God. You'll be like, what the heck? All right. The assist leader for San Diego State is Tony Gwynn.
I knew that.
You knew that?
Dude, I swear I knew that. No, because he was a dog at both sports.
I had no clue. No
Oh,
clue at
dude,
all.
I actually knew that.
You
And like
actually might have gotten it.
I knew that from like years ago. If you had told me that it was a baseball player, I would
You
have
would have gotten it.
immediately known it was Tony
Yeah,
Gwynn.
my dad just sent me
Um,
that today. I was like, jeez, dude.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
that's crazy though. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
absurd.
he was just an athletic like monster. He's just
Yeah.
like and not only like a great athlete, but like he just like understood sports. So
Yeah.
he just like was such a
He's just a
gamer, as
baller.
they say.
He's just a
Yeah,
baller. Yeah. Also, Texas is up 4 right now with 7 minutes left
7 minutes left.
against the U.
The U.
So
I
I'll put that
think the
game up
U.
right
I
now.
mean, yeah. Anyway, so what else is there really to talk about? Oh,
Um,
just quickly, World Baseball Classic, so
yeah,
fun. I don't
yeah.
like. It's kind of hard to judge like the actual baseball. Like these guys are in spring training type of a form. Trey Turner is amazing.
Trey Turner is the
And
president
then
of the
like
United States.
the yeah, gosh. And then kind of the showdown, Shohei and
Otani
Mike
Trout.
Trout, like
It's
that.
so good for this.
It
It's so
couldn't have
good for the
ended more
sport.
perfectly, except maybe like as a supporter of the USA, like imagine if Trout had hit a home run,
Oh my God, that would have
dude.
been.
Just like not saying that like it should have happened or like it makes the World Baseball Classic any less cool that it didn't happen, but just imagine if Mike Trout hit a home run.
Yeah, I'm so glad it didn't end in a walk too. I'm so glad he struck him out. But
Yeah.
that was a great. The World Baseball Classic is so good for baseball. Obviously, there's all this conversation about does it matter, stuff like that. I recommend everyone listening to this to watch the Baseball Doesn't Exist video on the World Baseball Classic. It's
Bro,
so
you need to
good.
stop. Like, I know it is really good, but like,
Have you seen it?
get off. Baseball doesn't exist,
Dude,
bro.
he's the best channel on YouTube. He's the best
Bro,
channel on YouTube.
stop it, bro.
But watch that video. Really puts it in perspective just how important this tournament is to everyone. But like seriously, like like Randy Rosar. Have you watched the video?
Like part of it.
Okay, Randy Rosarena literally asked the president to become a citizen in Mexico just so he could play for them in the World Baseball Classic, and the president was like, "Sure."
That's so tough.
Yeah.
I knew that. But yeah, I mean, and a Rosareno, like,
He's awesome. I love him.
how could you not love Randy Rosarena?
He is so him. People like him
And
are
he's so good at baseball.
yeah.
He
People like him are why
rakes.
I have hope for the sport that'll last forever. He is just awesome, and I love him. And he literally always shows up in the biggest. He lives for the biggest moments in the world. Just lives for them. But
Dialed.
yeah, Otani Trout at the end was literally like a storybook ending. The dirty maybe that last pitch was absolutely disgusting. Blew two fastballs by Trout.
Yeah.
That was like the 24th
Well, yeah,
time.
and I mean, like,
Mhm.
yeah, like, seen some stuff. Like, dude, I see so many people clowning Pete Alonso,
I don't like Pete
telling Trout
Alonso.
to sit, telling Trout to sit splitter. after going like 1 for 20 the whole tournament.
Yeah. No, but that was like the 24th time Mike Trout has swung and missed at 3 pitches and like 6,000 career at bats, which sort of just goes
Yeah,
to
I
show
mean,
how his greatness in that sort of sense.
well, and like Otani is disgusting.
Oh, Tony, he's the best. He's the GOAT of baseball already. I don't care.
No,
Yes, Otani is the greatest player ever to play the game.
he's the best player.
He's the
He's not the
greatest
great.
player.
He hasn't won anything.
Well, now we're just talking about what GOAT means, so this is a whole different conversation.
Actually, like, dude, I tell you that Pat Mahomes is the GOAT, and
He's
and you're like,
not the
oh,
GOAT.
he's not. Skill wise, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player to ever touch a football. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani.
This is just now we're just talking about what does GOAT even mean.
You're being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous.
You don't even none of us know what GOAT means. All right, fine, sorry. Shohei Ohtani isn't the GOAT. He's the best player to ever play the game.
He's the
Patrick
best
Mahomes
player
is
to
not
ever
the
touch
GOAT.
a baseball.
All right.
And it was Mike Trout for a while, but it's now definitely
Mike
Shohei
Trout.
Ohtani. But until Shohei Ohtani leaves the Angels, or the Angels get new management, or something drastic happens to the Angels organization, he will never be the GOAT because he hasn't won or like even gotten close to winning anything.
You don't need to win in baseball to be the GOAT because it's so not dependent on one player.
It's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous.
No, it's not. Ridiculous. Listen to me. Let me talk.
You have to win. You have to win.
Nope. Football is different. The Chiefs obviously would not have won 2 Super Bowls in the past 4 years if it wasn't for Pat Mahomes.
Especially when you're a guy like Shohei who pitches and hits. Like
no, absolutely not. This winning does not rely on one player at all. The Angels might win a World Series because of Shohei Ohtani, but they won't not win one. How do I phrase? They won't not win one because of him. Is that the right way to say it?
But I mean, it's still not like it's still. I mean, it brings into question greatness. Like all of these are team sports. Michael Jordan, like
baseball is the biggest team sport. Like it's so not dependent on one player. Shohei Ohtani hits once every 2 to 3 innings and pitches once every 3-4 games in the playoffs. Like let's say they win every game he pitches. That's 2 games out of 4 that you need to win.
But okay, but Shohei Ohtani can win at least 1 game with his pitching.
Okay.
Assume, and he can win.
If you're relying on one player to win a World Series in baseball, then that's absurd.
It's not what I'm saying, but like you still have to win something to be the greatest of. I mean,
sure, who do you think's the GOAT in baseball right now?
It's still Babe Ruth.
Okay.
And he's obviously nowhere close to the best. He would
definition of baseball is different from other sports.
He'd hit like 0.05 in today's MLB. But he's still the GOAT.
Yeah. No, GOAT. The definition of GOAT, I think, varies from sport to sport. I don't think the definition of GOAT for baseball relates to winning at all.
Yeah, no.
And I would
it's not the same.
Yeah.
But I guess, and Shohei Ohtani doesn't necessarily have to meet the winning standards of like somebody like Babe Ruth, but his team can't be terrible. Like,
I mean, but the team's not terrible because of him. The team is terrible in spite of him.
I know it's not, but the team is bad.
It's not his fault.
You can't be the
great horrible organization.
It just doesn't. You still have to be somewhat good as a team. Like,
I guess, but if Shohei Ohtani wins a World Series this year, that does not change my view of him at all in the GOAT conversation. I'm like, okay, now whatever.
That's so whack. Like, okay, Madison Bumgarner. If you're telling me he didn't play a massive role in them winning in 2014, like, you're lying. Like,
I mean, that's fair, but also Madison Bumgarner isn't the GOAT.
Well, obviously not, but like that makes him that performance and him winning that World Series
that is
him
fair.
So much
but
more
them
great.
Getting to that point, Madison Bumgarner pitched 1 every 5 days. He pitched, let's say, 32 games during the regular season. That is 130 other games that have to be pitched by his teammates. He won, let's say he won. I mean, not games won, like stat wise, isn't great. But let's say he wants 20 games, 25 games for the Giants. There's still 4/5 of the rotation that has to do their job. The lineup still has to hit. The defense still has to play. That like regular season
Well,
getting
except
to
in
that point, the season
2014, he
overall.
pitched like 3 times in 7 games.
Yeah, but them getting to that point is a team effort and does not rely on him solely at all. In fact, if he sucked, they probably still would have made it because their team was really good.
I
Sure, they might
get
not have
that.
won it in that singular
It's
series.
just
They might
like
not have won it, but
it just like being the GOAT deals so much with like your legacy and like big moments. Like how are you gonna step up in big moments? Like iconic plays. Like I think that does like subconsciously play like a huge role in determining the GOAT. And so like you look at guys in other sports or like Babe Ruth, like clutch home runs. Derek Jeter's not the GOAT, but like crazy plays in big moments. And like if the Angels can't even get into big moments,
that's not his fault.
I'm not saying it's his fault, but he just can't be the GOAT. It's not like not everything's like a fault thing, but
It
it's
literally just
just the
depends on how you
reality.
define GOAT.
I
Also,
mean,
he
yeah,
won the World Baseball Classic too, so you got to give him credit for that. That's
yeah.
more important to many players than the World Series is. So, and they've said that
That's
themselves.
stupid.
No, it's not. You as an American
It's actually fair.
thinks it means nothing. I mean, you don't think it means
It
nothing,
means
but
nothing. No, that's not true.
yeah, I
No,
know.
it's
But you
just
don't.
like
We as
it's
Americans
10.
don't.
It's like 10 games or something. Like
We don't care because we have MLB, but the Japanese, it's like
care.
they care so like they're so care about it so much. Same with Puerto Rico. Same with all the players do. Same with Puerto Rico. Same with Dominican. Same with Venezuela, Cuba. All these countries they care so much, and a lot of these
I know,
players
but I don't
it means
think.
more to them than the World Series.
Well,
And they've asked like literally
I think
most of
ask
the Dominican
World
players said
Series
that.
championship. I think ask World Series champions, and like those guys will say something different than like
Mm,
guys who play for mediocre franchises. I don't know.
they're representing their country though.
I'd be interested to like actually know.
Yeah.
And your point is valid. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know. Yeah. I mean that's
Do I think like the Olympic basketball versus the NBA finals, and like yeah, like from an
well
American
that's
perspective, like
incredibly lopsided though. So
it's just
that's
still like
different.
not really.
The skill gap between the Americans and everyone else versus the World Baseball Classic, where there's like
That's fair.
so many teams. Mexico, I forgot to mention them.
Okay.
Mexico, Puerto Rico,
Okay.
Dominican, Japanese, US.
All right. I guess like the World Cup is significantly more important to those guys than like their league, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also like in soccer, there's like multiple leagues.
Well, the Japanese, like,
It was something like 96% of
yeah,
TVs were like on.
yeah, and then like the Trout Otani at bat on Twitter got more views than like anything that happened the last MLB season, like by in like 1 hour by like the widest margin ever. So the World Baseball Classic, it's a good thing for baseball. It was so many incredible games, some of the best games
and
that
just getting
I've
like the
seen.
international perspective, like baseball is like seen as very American, but like international
great
influence,
for the
like,
game, great for the world. But as we're wrapping this episode up, the Miami game just ended. Miami
the
beat
U
Miami
is going to the
beat
Final Four. Jim Larrañaga
Texas.
gets over the hump.
Yep. Miami beat Texas, so we got it was 88-81. We got Miami and UConn,
the Big 12
and then the FAU SDSU. So
that's crazy. So it is guaranteed that the champion will be a 4 seed or higher. Wow.
That's got to be like, when was the last time neither a 1, 2, or 3 seed have been in the Final Four?
I don't know about the Final Four, but Kentucky UConn was like a 7-8 or 6-7 matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, unbelievable that I mean, it's like March and I think about this too, like, there's got to be something. It can't just be like coincidence that like in March Madness, like the most improbable things happen.
Yeah.
Like, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Some people are born for the big moments. Some people aren't. That's
well,
honestly,
there's that.
the
Do
heat
you
of the
think
moment.
that like the fact that there's no home court advantages?
I think it's just that playing like, in a sudden death game where your whole season comes down to 40 minutes of basketball and nothing else matters at that time, it just does something to you.
Because like those preseason tournaments, these kind of things don't happen nearly as much. And like maybe it has to do with like teams getting ready, so like athleticism play, like teams are like starting to like mesh, so like athleticism plays a much bigger role. But like just the fact that literally anything can happen and like any team can win is just wild.
Yeah, it's so awesome. But
it's like it completely elevates college basketball, like for me, above most other forms of sport. Just like the unpredictability of it, like nowhere else do you see the wildest upsets occur.
Yeah. I mean, FDU beating Purdue is the equivalent of like I don't even know.
It's the equivalent,
and that's
why college basketball is so much better than like college football, for instance, because that would never happen in college.
Yeah. It's just physically not possible.
Physically not possible.
Because in basketball, any team can make every shot.
Yeah. It's literally if the rim is being friendly. And that's like, I don't know. Maybe that's why Ocean Lakers was good this year. Maybe the rims just weren't friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we had bigger problems than that. But it's just it's not luck. Like I hesitate to call it luck because that's not what it is. But it is like there is a lot of streakiness to the game.
It's just
where like
hot streaks and runs. That's huge.
Yeah. It's a game of runs. And so like the teams that Miami, for instance, that's a team that can go on a run. Like if you're telling me that Isaiah Wong, Nigel Pack, and Norchad Omier are on, you can stop that team, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Nigel Pack's a dog.
Nigel Pack's a dog. Dude, imagine if he hadn't transferred away from K-State.
Yeah. Oof. But yeah, I mean, Final Four set. Nash, give me your predictions. Let's go.
It's gotta be the U, I think.
Really?
I think Florida Atlantic goes to the championship.
Okay.
And the U takes down UConn. I just think UConn is like more than people are willing to admit. They are prone to have a bad game.
They've destroyed everyone they played though.
Okay, but it's not like that's another thing. We're like
the hottest team.
Yes, and being the hottest team does play a factor.
I mean, anything can happen.
I think if UConn and Miami play like they've been playing, UConn will win by like 10-15.
Yeah.
Because Miami has also been very hot. Like people are ignoring that, and they have had an easier path, some would say, but not easy. No paths are easy. And so
you make the Final Four for a reason.
Yeah, you make the Final Four for a reason, and so it's just like the most random Final Four ever, dude.
It's so awesome, dude. I love it.
So awesome.
My God, there's no way somebody picked the Final Four, right?
You think it's nobody did. Nobody did. There was one bracket that had FAU and SDSU. But
well, so you got Miami versus FAU. Miami taking the chip home.
Yeah, two Dade County teams.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
yeah. Well, I on the other hand have FAU. I think FAU is going to sneak by SDSU. I think that's going to be a really good game.
SDSU is just like they're so good defensively.
Yeah.
But like they're just bound to
Yeah. I think that'll be a really good game though.
It's
really
like
good game.
it's just shocking to me that they win all these close games without having like any
A
shot
guy.
makers.
They don't have a
Yeah.
guy. You
They
know.
don't have a guy, and they really don't have a good offense, like in general.
Mm-hmm.
To
But
speak of.
they
And
played their game, and it's paid off for them. But
I think FAU takes it.
yeah, I think FAU is gonna beat them.
Because FAU only has 3 losses on the season. FAU was, I think, without a doubt, the best mid-major team in America.
Technically, SDSU is a mid-major. But if we're saying their FAU is better than SDSU, then I guess still true. But
like, I don't know. There's like tiers to mid-major, right? Like, there's Power 5, like high major, and then there's like
AAC,
high mid-major that's like AAC, and like the Mountain
West, yeah.
So like I wouldn't consider them like true mid-major.
I mean, they are
like FAU.
FAU is a
we'll
mid-major.
call FAU mid to low major, and we'll call like SDSU mid to high major.
Yeah.
This is like so unnecessary, this distinction. But like FAU was 31-3 in the regular season.
Yeah.
Like that means something.
Which goes to show you should absolutely pick your bracket solely based on records in the future, and don't look at seeding.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Texas Southern was bound to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
FAU.
Exactly. But yeah, so you have Miami winning. I'll have FDU winning, or FAU winning, not FDU. I'll have FAU winning, and then I'll have UConn winning, and I think UConn is going to win the championship.
Yeah. I mean, you're just so basic. You just don't like to have any fun.
You're picking Miami to win.
In the most fun March.
Nah, I'm picking FAU to win.
You hate fun.
FAU is winning the championship.
Dude, imagine 2 Dade County teams in the final.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean,
we'll see though.
As much as like, I think Florida is like an overrated vacation destination. That's so random. That's actually like so random, but
it's not necessary at all. There's no need for you to say that. You just did anyway.
But it would still be cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, tune in next weekend. Big game.
What's the scheduling for Final Four and the championship games?
They're both on Saturday.
And then championship games on Monday.
Monday night in April.
Yeah, that's right. Monday night in April. All right. Well, can't wait. Gonna be awesome.
Can't wait.
Hopefully they're all good games, and
even if they're not, who cares?
Who cares? It's one of the greatest it's one of the best March Madness tourneys I've witnessed in a while. So
yeah.
But thank you guys for listening and watching, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Yep. See ya.